Hey guys, welcome to Coding After 30. Are you thinking about building your first project, trying to come up with ideas? Well, today I'm going to talk about one of the projects that I'm just starting out. So I do work on a lot of projects on my own for my portfolio, but I want to do a community project, something that maybe will give you ideas, something that you could create for your own portfolio. If this is something that interests you, continue watching this video. By the way, if you're new to this channel, my name is Paul and I talk about switching careers into web development. By the way, at the end of the day, you need to build a portfolio. There's so many different things you could do. There's right way, there's wrong way of doing things. And usually we start things and we do them the wrong way, and that's how we learn. We learn through the process of making mistakes. I just started a new project. I'll tell you what it is in just a second, but I already made bajillion mistakes with it. And I want to kind of take you guys along the ride, show you what I'm doing, show you the mistakes I'm making, and hopefully you don't make those mistakes. So I watched this YouTube channel, Foundry. They usually do a lot of C# and ASP.NET stuff, but the guy has a lot of great points, and he talks about this idea, project to rule them all. He says you have to build one big project that you could show your potential employers or to showcase in your interview, and it has to be a substantial project. And he recommends building a bug tracker. And you know what? This is something that I need to track all the projects I'm working on, be able to track all the bug fixes and bugs that I get, and I think that's a great project to do as well. So that's something I started with. Now, before I hop onto my computer and show you what I'm working at, let me right away tell you the mistakes I made. The first mistake I made is I started coding right away, which is a waste of time because I have no idea what I'm doing in terms of what is the project going to do, what technologies I'm going to do. I just started trying to get the layout. So the first lesson here is to make sure that you guys plan out on paper, come up with a basic wireframe of what you want to build. Then think about what data do you need. Well, I know that it's going to track bugs, but what is in a bug? Well, the time it was created, the title of the bug, maybe some notes that go with that bug, or what project it belongs to. So there's a lot to think about it. So basically, before you start coding, at least do some sort of planning. The second thing is that you have to, before you start building the project, commit to what stack you're going to use and do not add to it, because otherwise you're going to have something called scope creep, where you're going to add things, and what's going to happen, you're never going to finish. So very important is for you to create constraints for yourself and to stick within those constraints. Don't try to build the most amazing app, but start one feature at a time. Like, what does it need to do? So I'll use the app that I'm building on for my example. Is number one, you have to be able to create a user and you have to be logged in as the user. Number two, you have to be able to add a project. To that project, you should be able to add bugs, and to those bugs, you should be able to add messages. And you should also be able to delete and edit. Now, I know that I need this functionality. So what am I going to use to create this project? Well, I'm going to commit to using React and JavaScript for the front end. I'm also going to use React Router to be able to build my navigation in my application. And I'm also going to use styled components to style my application rather than going the regular CSS route. And you probably wonder, well, you need to have a backend. What are you going to do? Are you going to build that backend from scratch? Well, yes, I technically can't spend a lot of time on building the backend as well as the front end, but as a front end web developer, I'm going to focus on the front end functionality first, and I'm going to use a library like Strapi to be able to create my backend. So for this application, I'm going to use React and JavaScript for the front end and Strapi for the back end. Once you commit to your tech stack, do not add any more stuff. Stick to it until you finish. So I'm going to jump on my computer and show you what I started. And again, the biggest mistake I made, I started coding first. So instead, what I'm going to do in this weekend is backtrack and think about the layout, think about the functionality I want for my app, create a basic wireframe, write down the functionality that I want so I have it on paper, and then get back to coding. So with that being said, let me just show you what I'm doing. Hey guys, this is where I'm starting to build my bug tracker. It's called Track a Bug. It's going to be the best app ever. I don't know if it will actually, but I started to code, and what I realized is that you do have to plan your app. You do have to create a wireframe. You have to think about it. I already mentioned that in the prior thing that I just talked about, but if you're looking to kind of get some good ideas, I found out these two videos from Free Code Camp. talk about UX and UI design. So you could check those out and just Google them on YouTube. We'll give you a great overview. So the biggest mistake I made, I started coding and then I realized I don't know what I'm building. So I kind of had to backtrack and come up with some ideas. So this is where I am now. You're going to have this area that's going to have a splash page when you're starting out. This is not going to show because you're not logged in, but right now I'm faking it like you're logged in. You'll be able to click the button that will take you to the login section. You'll be able to log in. Once you log in, it's going to show your image. And I committed to having 3 sections here to start with. The first section, when you click on the picture, it's just going to show you your bugs only that are assigned to you and what you're currently working on. And it's going to display the number of bugs you have here, and that way you could just come in, hit this picture and jump in. There's obviously going to be other users in this app, and they'll be able to go to the home page. Will display all the projects that are available. And right now I don't have anything to show, but as you click on the project, what it's going to do is going to route you based on the ID to the bugs for that project. Again, just imagine that they have bugs underneath here. I didn't create that view yet. And then if you click on the bug, it's going to take you based on the ID to the details section, which this is going to be a page here with all the details. And then if you click on the messages button that's going to be there, you're going to have all your notes here. So this screen is going to be populated by project, bugs, detail, and notes. And the final place, I'm going to have this action, which is going to have all the bugs in a data table format. So if you're curious what that would look like, here's an idea that I found online. And if you're wondering, how did you come up with that amazing design? I literally looked up cool UI designs, and this is what I found. This is obviously for a health tracking app, but I thought it'd be pretty cool. So this is great practice for you to take a design that maybe you didn't create, but with CSS, make it look similar to what you see. Because a big skill as you start learning to develop is that you're going to have people that are going to come in, they're going to give you the mock-up, and you should be able to create it with your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills. And again, I zoomed in so you guys could see, but this is the normal size of the app. But I'm going to zoom in so you guys could see what we're doing. And so that's the basic layout. Now, I'm using Strappy for the backend. If you haven't seen my other website, I have this site that I created for me just to put cool videos in here. Then I could track and keep links. And this is all being populated by a backend that I use to create with Strappy. Strappy is an amazing way. You could go to strappy.io and you could read more about it, but it's a great way to create a backend. And what this allows you to do is to have this backend to which you log in. You could have all your entries and your items that you could add very easily through this UI at first, and you'll be able to hit these endpoints. So if I go, I know it's posts, you see that I have this JSON format which I could make my queries, and like I do on the front end of this app, for instance, to generate all these videos here. Also, it allows you to handle your authentication, so I could authenticate and walk in. Now, the reason I'm showing you this app, because this has videos, links, blogs. Eventually it's going to have lessons. You'll be able to create your own lessons. You'll be able to take notes. You'll be able to blog. You'll be able to also keep track of bugs, which nothing happens yet. The biggest takeaway from showing you this project is that the scope is too big. It will take me a long time to finish this app, probably 3 to 4 months, maybe 6 months, who knows, but it's going to take a lot of work. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do something simpler. So this one section here, bugs, I'm just going to make it a standalone app, and we're going to create a bug tracker because it will allow you guys to get something done and build for your portfolio. So this idea of constantly trying to add new features will prevent you from creating your app. So I simplified it. We're only going to have these 3 screens. For now, we're going to have ability to log in, and that's where we're going to start. And in the future, if you want to add more features, you could do it for version 1.1, what have you. And the last thing I'm going to say, as I build this app, you guys could ask me questions. Now, I can't show you all the stuff I'm doing here, and this looks complicated, right? Like for instance, this avatar component here is what you guys see here. This is the avatar. What's awesome about React, I'll just do this quickly, is once you build a component, you could reuse it. So you literally are able to build your app like building blocks. So for instance, I know that that avatar is in my sidebar. So if I go here inside the navigation, you see I have this avatar. This component was already built, and I could literally add another avatar here just like that. And once we set north, how I have the second avatar, and I could pass props to it that will change the count, change the picture, whatever. But as you could see, it makes it easier with React for you guys to create your app. I'll talk more about it. But as you're starting out, you're looking at this code, everybody's in a different place in the journey. But if you have questions, the goal here is for you to ask in the comments, let me know, and I'll be able to look at those comments and make a video and do something like this where I isolate what you're trying to build and create it in CodePen and kind of walk through this. By the way, this is not part of the app that I'm doing. I just want to show this example in CodePen, which I will do for you guys based on the questions you ask. But here's something cool I learned the other day. I have this application basically, and as you can see, what's in view is going to be kind of highlighted or in normal font color, and the stuff that is kind of not in view is kind of grayed out. And as you scroll, right on scroll, it changes and it highlights the text you're reading. That's the beauty of CodePen, is to take things out of our project and put them in isolation here. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is getting started. The challenge for you is go check out these videos on UI wireframing. It doesn't have to be these particular, you could Google them and build your wireframe, come up with what features you want to have, and start building your project for your portfolio. And you just have to have one big main project like I do. Everything you're learning, just apply to this project until it's done. But you do need to finish your project. And by the way, there are no tutorials for this project because you don't want tutorial projects that you've done and then you just put into your portfolio. You really want to create something on your own because it's going to give you the confidence to build things yourself. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Let me jump back. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this off-the-cuff video because I really want to get into kind of showing into what I'm doing in my life, not just the successes, but probably a lot of failures, because I want you guys to see from my experience the struggle that I go through coming up with ideas, working and creating things, getting stuck, and how to get unstuck. So I'm going to continue this series working along with you on this bug tracker application. The goal here is not for me to show you everything from scratch and have you copy my code, but it's to document the process and to show you kind of what I'm doing, and you could see, and hopefully these tips will help you in your projects. More importantly, if you do have questions, ask me in the comments and I'll make follow-up videos just talking about those questions that you guys have. So for instance, if you're not sure what is a functional component in React, well, you could say it in the comments and I could show you this is a functional component, this is how you write it with React, or how do you set up React routing. So the whole point for me is I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to work on the project myself. You guys get to come along for the ride, and whatever questions you have, just ask, instead of doing more like a tutorial step by step. Because honestly, doing tutorials step by step, they're great when you're starting out, but ultimately you're going to have to suffer yourself, make those mistakes yourself, look up on Google how to fix them, and you'll see me making mistakes here like all the time because I'm not perfect and I'm just like you, still learning. But it's going to be a more valuable way for you guys to learn through trial and tribulations, guys. So anyway, enough of me talking. I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your support, and if you like what I do on this channel, consider subscribing.